Hi, it's Ricky from Moshville Times once again. I'm delighted to be welcome vocalist Toni and guitarist David of Glaswegian band Darkness Divine. So I'm delighted to see you guys. It's been a pleasure to finally talk to you. So first of all, how are you guys getting on? It's been a while since we've chatted and the world seems to have went AWOL. Are you still working and things like that?
I'm still working, yeah. I'm in recycling, so I've not really stopped the entire time. I've just been at work, aside from 3 weeks when it first kind of kicked off.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I've just been in full time, man. So it's been business as usual for me, kind of.
Yeah. What about yourself, Toni?
I've been a hermit and I've loved every minute of it. I've just been writing, that's it. It's great. This is how I want my whole life to be.
Yeah. So have things changed in your workplace, David, then? All like one-way systems and all that nonsense? And
Aye, we're all kind of just a bit spaced out a little more, and there's less people than there was. A couple of folks have been let go and all that kind of stuff. But aye, it's fairly just business as usual, apart from hand sanitizer everywhere and fucking masks and all this kind of part. You know what I mean? It's a bit icky in the arse sometimes, but nothing you can't handle.
That's it. Thanks very much. So with the lockdown, it's still pretty much happening here in Scotland then. So are you guys doing any more writing? How are you communicating your ideas?
I would go so far as to say that we're just, disregarding meeting up and communicating face to face as per usual. I mean, that's what you do with your family. So, do your band.
We're a second household, the band. So we've just been rehearsing. Like, we moved into a new studio a couple of weeks back, and we've just been rehearsing ever since then. So, we've basically just been throwing ideas together in the jam room for the last couple of weeks. And since we've got no gigs to rehearse for, it's just a case of working on new stuff.
Yeah, I was speaking to the band they seem to have got it worse than us. They haven't been together since March at all.
Aye. Well, we hadn't been together. Like, we had a wee Zoom call, and the first time we actually got together as a band was the day that we moved into the rehearsal space. So we hadn't really seen each other until that point. But now that we've got the jam room, it's like back to work, man. You know what I mean?
So have you got tape around the room? You stay there, you stay there, you stay there, and all the rest of it?
Well, no, we're all travelling together and stuff anyway, so it's not a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Like,
we started quite tentative with the whole hi, elbows, face mask. Yeah, it was quickly going. You're sitting in a room all breathing the same air. Like, you can't really escape it. So
the five of us were in a van, like
yeah.
as well. So it's like, if we're going to be in a van together, we can rehearse together. Like,
it's okay, Dave. It's okay, Dave. If you get COVID, I don't mind. Right. As long as you fight through it, I won't be upset if I end up with it as well.
I'll fight hard.
We have to take it in our lungs more than yours.
That's indeed true, aye.
So then, with the lockdown, and now you're saying that you've had a new rehearsal room and things, and you've been jamming together. So have you used this time constructively to write more songs?
We've got a ridiculous amount of ideas. It's not even funny. We've just polished off a second new tune at rehearsal on Sunday. Good. And there's about 1 million ideas to work on as we go forward. But we've just all got an absolute fuckload of stuff in the bank, and it's just a case of now getting it out.
Yeah. I now keep all of my lyrics and writing at the jam room, but originally it was just here at my desk. And I could show you about, 5 large books full, but, I can't. I didn't think of that.
That's what I was going to ask. You've been the vocalist of the band. Are you the main contributor with the lyrics, or do you let other people get their ideas in?
Definitely the main contributor. Usually the guys will give me a line they've been thinking about or a concept they've been thinking about, and I just sort of run with it.
Yeah.
As far as lyrics go, Toni's got it under control. Like, she doesn't need much help from us. It's just like, oh, so those lyrics are done then? Fair enough. Let's go. Sounds fucking brilliant to me. Let's go.
The only thing that I can't do, though, is name them. I'm like, here are lyrics, pick a bit.
Aye, that's our bit. It's just like, read through those. What bit is the title? It's like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's go with that.
So with the new stuff then, have your lyrical themes changed with the new stuff than to Prelude, for example? Are they pretty much the same common theme?
Let me see. So I do actually have them all written out. We were discussing this. No, they're all the same theme. they are pretty much similar themes.
I think the new stuff, we've not really kind of tied down massive amounts of lyrics for the new stuff. It's more kind of musical arrangements we've got at the moment. But we do have the new stuff that's in terms of the album.
Yeah, so there's new stuff that's the album. Then there's new stuff that's
new stuff.
But as for all of the stuff that's not on Prelude, I mean, it's very, very similar themes, things that are near and dear to my heart, some things that have absolutely nothing to do with my experience. Something that I like to speculate on. I'm
just wondering, like, because we've been in lockdown, was a situation in the last 6 months, has that inspired you in any way?
Not at all. I've heard some songs that make really good use of like the key phrases you hear all the time: pandemic, infection, new way of living, and I'm just, I have thought, is there a way that I can do this? And like, by the time that you hear whatever I've got to say, it'll be a really tired bit of noise. So I'm like, I'm just going to stick to where I'm most not comfortable but excited. The things that make me go, oh my god, these lyrics have to exist, have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
As opposed to fighting to try and write something that other people will be interested in.
So, did I hear that you were talking about an album?
No.
Yeah.
I thought I heard a key word.
Yeah, so we've been working on the album for ages. Like, as soon as Prelude came out, we were already kind of working on it. Like, all those songs were already written, so it was just a case of recording them and getting them out, and then shit hit the fan.
Yeah, lockdown was a very, very, very long pause.
So with the new album then, is it completely brand new songs, or are you going to use 1 or 2 songs from Prelude in there as well?
No, there's nothing from Prelude on it. It's all new stuff. If all you've heard is Prelude, it's all new stuff. But if you've seen us live, it's stuff that we've been playing for the last year or so.
Yeah.
So all the stuff on it, apart from one song, we've played live a bunch. So it's not going to be new to anybody who's seen us a lot, but to anyone who only knows Prelude, it's all 100% new.
Yeah. So how would you compare to your older material then?
I don't think it's really the album and the EP were all kind of written round about the same time over like the first year and a half, 2 years of being in the band. So all that stuff kind of is from the same time period.
Yeah.
The stuff that we're working on now, the new stuff, may be a little bit different, but
I'd say definitely. I would say that the album stuff is definitely a little bit heavier. Is a little bit heavier, at least in my contribution to it, because being a lassie, I tend to sing just where I'm comfortable singing, but then sometimes I like to take it somewhere a little bit more rough. So there's definitely significantly more of that from me than there is in Prelude.
Oh yeah.
But no, I don't think the rest of it is too different. Although Prelude, every single song is, got its own, I was going to say voice, but that's me.
Aye.
I'm the same voice.
If anything, you should be able to hear a slight progression, because the songs on Prelude were literally the first 5 songs that we wrote. So they were like all we were kind of getting better as we went along. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
definitely.
like those 5 tunes, and then we worked on this and this and this, and then the melodies started getting more epic and just better arrangements. So we kind of found a little niche, I think, on the album tunes.
Good.
That you might not have experienced on the Prelude stuff.
I like the fact, Tony, that you're a bit of a heavier influence. I do like that. But is there still going to be like a ballad on the album, for example?
Nah, I wouldn't call it a ballad, but there is something that's slower.
Yeah, I mean, it's not as if you're not going to be able to hear my voice and I'm actually singing properly. It's not what my dad thinks. He doesn't think that I spend my life going, which he very graciously said to me yesterday. Yeah, there's still there's still diversity. I mean, that's what I want more than anything when I'm singing. Even hit some falsetto chords, some soft palate stuff. Nice, it's very nice.
Yes.
Good stuff. So with the album then, has there been any label interest, or is it something that you're just going to release by yourselves?
At the moment, it'll just be, the plan is to just release it ourselves, yeah. But to be honest, it was kind of, because of lockdown and everything going tits up, like there's not really been a solid plan for the album launch, because we don't know when we're going to be able to go out on tour and play shows again. So we've kind of been sitting on it because of that. And now it's kind of looking like we don't really know if we'll ever get to fucking tour it, so we might as well just fucking launch the bastard, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like 90% complete, and I think we're just going to stick it out, because if we don't, it will never fucking come out, and we're going to be...
Right, I say if we never get to play gigs again, like as a governmental rule, we just do a Thelma and Louise, right? Just get in a car, hit everywhere, and then just go off the side of a cliff so they can't catch us.
The only positive you can take from this is that you're not really on the live front falling behind anybody, because nobody can do anything at the moment. But it must be completely frustrating. You've got this album, you've already got songs for the following release, but it must be completely frustrating not being able to release the album as of yet.
We're getting there because we can see each other again. We've made a lot of progress in the last few weeks. So even just being able to put it out, even just being able to do some music videos will make a huge difference to the year, being a good year for us or not. But I think one of the really exciting things after COVID and the pandemic and lockdown is that, you know, a lot of larger bands are most certainly not going to be able to do gigs because they draw in too many people. But local bands, you know, they're actually in with a shout of not just having gigs, but having new faces at gigs, having more people at gigs.
Yeah.
You know, people might actually want to come out as opposed to me screaming down the phone, buy a ticket! Promise you'll show up on the night!
So are you allowed to say with the album then who's going to produce it and where it's going to be recorded?
It's already recorded, we're just kind of self-producing it. It's going to be mixed and mastered by Liam Hesselwood from Nishima. Shout out to Nishima.
Yeah.
Badass. Yeah, but it's basically just been self-produced. We recorded drums at a friend's house on his electric kit. He's got a big fucking dirty $2,000 studio kit or something like that. So I think he knocked out the drums on that, and then we've just been recording guitars and vocals as we go along.
Yeah.
It's been a long process though. Like we've been recording this for like a year.
Yeah, you must just get it out. So hopefully it'll happen sooner rather than later.
For sure.
So it's been a turn of the year since your last video for the song A Stronger Dose. So how was that recorded, and can you explain a little bit about what the song's about, please?
I don't know about recorded. I mean, I think we recorded it the same fashion that we're recording now, which is...
Are you talking about the video recording or the track?
Oh, the video?
Oh, the video was just kind of knocked together by a lot of Will Ryan's footage. Will Ryan's a guy who... if nobody knows, Will Ryan's a guy who basically just fucking owns the Glasgow metal scene, and he kind of shows up at gigs with a trusty camcorder and films fucking everybody and gets it all on his YouTube channel. So that's good to kind of look back on. After you've played the gig, he's got the footage up the day after, and you can kind of, oh, there's that bit I fucked up. Yeah, so yeah, he basically sends us all the footage, and me and Toni were a bit bored one day, so we decided to just edit together a wee video.
Yes.
Yeah.
So with the new songs then, have you already thought of plans if the world comes back to normal, like to do videos for the new songs?
For sure.
Yes, absolutely. Like, even if it doesn't, I mean, there's so many bands that have put together lockdown video releases, and the quality of them is fantastic. So
yeah,
there's no reason not to have any videos. I think if you're saying that post-lockdown you can't have a video, you're just giving up too easy.
The only challenge would be finding a videographer who's comfortable doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we're all pretty happy being in each other's company now, so it would really just be a case of finding someone who's willing to kind of film it, and feeling that we're pretty fucking well versed at doing it ourselves, kind of thing.
So what about even like a gig then? Would you do like a gig in your rehearsal studio and just do it live?
I don't know, it's not something we've really spoke about. Gigs for...
I've seen a couple of bands do that, you know, they just...
For us, are like more of an interactive thing. Like, I don't think I could perform to the same level if there was no one in the room.
I think some people have suggested doing like an online gig or something. It's like, yeah, that sounds like a really good idea, but
Just not the same.
It's not even that it's just not the same. It's just there's something desperately sad about that. About, you know, not getting that interaction, not having any idea how many people are engaging with you, not being able to see them, and it's just, you know, we've put so much out there. I think I would rather people ask us to put more videos and more things out than want us to try and piece together something live, because there's too many things that can go wrong with that. I mean, we do everything by ourselves. Like, if something goes wrong, everything has to stop. And, well, let's be honest, Pinky has to get out from behind the kit and fix the technical difficulty.
Yes.
So he's the IT guru.
That's it. He certainly is.
Yeah.
So having known you guys for some time on social media, like, some things seem to be very settled on the band members front. So how would you say you keep it all together, for example, when negotiating what stays in and what goes out of a song?
Do you know, honestly, we have wrestling matches. Quite honestly. We have fights, wrestling matches. I am still the reigning champion.
I wouldn't
yes, I am. Yes, I am.
He's a lie.
What's your finishing move?
God, that's
See, you've got to know. You've got to know.
Really screwed me up.
If you're going to lie about wrestling,
I know, it was one of those ones.
You need to have
I don't know.
something in the bag.
I thought it was quite obvious that I was just bullshitting. Like, I didn't think anyone would follow up the bullshit. Mostly people just look at me and go, and that's the end of it.
Well,
that's my big move.
They just see you frowning and they know not to mess with you. They just see you.
We don't really have any issues when we're kind of in the jam room. Like, when it comes to writing and that, like, there's never any real disagreement, because we're all kind of on the same page musically with what we want to hear in a song. So there's never any kind of, I really like this bit, this needs to stay. It's always kind of a mutual decision where it's like, well, that's not really working, let's try something else, or let's try that, oh, that was fucking great, let's leave that in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The worst thing you can say is, nah, I wasn't really feeling it.
That's
as bad as it ever gets. And
really,
it's like, okay, we'll do something else. Like, yeah, we want everyone to be happy.
So are there main to the songwriting, or is it just one or two of these?
Generally, I'll write structures, and Toni will write lyrics, and then on top of that, everybody will just kind of pitch in ideas about different parts. So if we'll basically bash out a verse, chorus, solo, kind of finish the song off structurally, and then when we all kind of get together to put it together as a band, then different parts will start coming in. It's like, oh, in that verse riff, maybe instead of doing that, we can do this, and then a new part will maybe come from there, and it's quite organic that way.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's magic, and a song just kind of appears, and they're like, give us some lyrics. I'm like, oh, that's so nice.
Toni sits there, it's like, we've got this new tune, Toni, write stuff.
Which book do you want? Which book do you want to use?
No, they don't get to pick that.
No, good stuff. Thanks very much for that, guys. So how strong would you say the Glasgow scene is? I was wondering if you would like to give a shout out to any bands.
Well, how strong is the Glasgow music scene?
It's fucking banging, bang-a-langing.
Bang-a-langing.
Not just Glasgow, like the whole of Scotland has got some fucking awesome bands in it, man. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We'll do one and then another and just rhyme off, or would you like to read?
Well, I fucking love my Ritual Spirit boys, as you can see. Sporting the fucking absolute legends of boys.
I'll interview them and see if they'll do the same for you.
That's alright, they don't need to. We know they love us. They're great boys. The boys from the Shima, as I said, Liam Hesselwood, he's going to be mixing our album. They are just fucking great lads. We've played a bunch of gigs with them. What about your end?
My end? Oh wow, so we've got Anchor Lane, big shout out to them, because it was them who had us at that gig that you met us at.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So Anchor Lane for the Rum Runners.
That's it. The Colony, for absolute definite, love those guys. Ran into them at a gig before the pandemic happened, and it was so nice. It was like, oh my god, it's you!
Yeah.
Uproar, absolutely. Freak Show,
Sweet bands.
Splintered Halo, Nocturne Wolf.
Let's a bunch of bands.
Like everybody. We love everybody. We love everybody that we play with and that talks to us.
Well, hopefully, things get better for the local bands then, as you say. Like, once the pandemic's over, there's just going to be gig after gig after gig. The punters are going to be spoiled for choice. They'll just want to be at gigs every night of the week, you know, so.
I really hope so. I really hope that we do see a big shift, because one of the things that is really hard about being in a band, it's getting people to buy your tickets, to take notice, to, you know, see that it's more than just, I don't know what impression other people have. Like, I go to gigs, so I'm just like, this is great, why are there not more people here? But I really do hope that it does make a big difference in terms of just getting folk out.
It's harder to get people's attention when there's like Guns N' Roses are playing Glasgow Green at the weekend and you're trying to get people to Ivory Blacks. Do you know what I mean? Like,
remember that?
Thanks for that. But talking about gigs then, you recently played Not a Festival, so what can you tell us about this gig? Where was it?
It's a big secret.
What was it?
It's a secret, mate. No, it's it wasn't. It certainly wasn't a festival. You know that much. But it was called The Tanking. It was basically arranged by a bunch of folk from down south who kind of go to festivals together, and they were all just kind of missing their music fix, so they decided to take matters into their own hands and put on a wee gig of sorts. And it was all distanced, and everybody was kind of masks indoors, and there was a track and trace thing. We had to fill out wee questionnaires. Like, it was really fucking good. So it was Mike and Mike were the guys that ran it, and they are significant others. And I. So it was basically just a quick trip down south, maybe about 40, 50 people, and played the show where everybody kind of distanced the way you would imagine. Like, I'm sure you've probably seen the gig they had in Newcastle recently with the big stages all around. It was kind of like that, but on a smaller scale. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was like families there and dogs and all sorts. It was great. They had like people cooking pizzas all day, and like there was a local pub involved who were coming on site and cooking like fish and chips for everybody. There was camping up the back. It was a magnificent weekend, and we'll be doing it again fucking next year as well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So you put on a stone in weight then since that gig?
Sorry?
You put on a stone in weight for that gig?
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
No, we worked it off on that stage, or I did at least.
It was a good show.
So how strange was it then to not like play in front of a crowd and have the crowd right up on your faces and moshing away and stuff like that? How difficult was it, or did you adapt to it quite easily? Did it take a couple of songs before you got in your rhythm?
Nah.
No, I think that it's not too different from a lot of gigs that we have played, because we have had some absolutely amazing gigs where there's loads of people and everybody stops and pays attention. And then we've played some gigs where there's like nobody there, and it's like a jam, and there's just a few people milling about. But usually every time we play, wherever we play, people kind of stop and take notice and engage with us at minimum. And the same thing happened, you know, despite everybody having like benches and somewhere to sit and being all distanced, everybody, you know, you could see people kind of like peeking out of doors and all this stuff. It was fantastic. It was just, yeah, it's not unusual for us to play to a small crowd. So
yeah,
it was just, you know, another awesome gig where people were listening to us and hearing us for the first time, thinking, how did we not know these guys exist?
Aye.
Well, we are saying, I know.
We kind of have the same regime anytime we play anyway. It's kind of just like we get on stage and we've got our set first song, which is generally our opening song, Hide, most of the time. And we kind of just know as soon as that kicks in that we're all just going to go fucking spare, do you know what I mean? So that's like when that song hits and you get the fucking.
It was 6 months, no gigs, next to no practices, and then we got on that stage and I was telling myself, I'm not going to headbang. The minute that song comes in, oh, my neck was angry for a week.
That was great.
You must have found it difficult, not to say to the crowd, like, come on down to the front and.
No, I didn't. I hate doing the talking in between songs.
No.
I hate it. I'm terrible at it.
Before every guy, it's like, Dave, do some talking.
It's like, Dave, do you want to just talk? He's like, no, you're the front one. Don't you just want to talk? You're so much better at it than me. He's like, you're fine. And then we watch it back and I'm just like, oh.
There was no real.
So it was great.
There was no real problem with that that gig at the Tankin though, because like everybody was just so appreciative to be watching live music anyway. So like even though they weren't fucking jumping about and there was no circle pits or something, like at the end of every tune, like they made as much fucking noise as they could for the amount of people that were there. Do you know what I mean? And we sold a bunch of merch, so they obviously liked what they saw, man.
Oh, excellent. So how did it feel getting back all your gear, your sound checking, and then playing the songs live then? So must be good to get that ban again.
For me, it was fucking great, man. I've been waiting for a gig for so long. It was just like, get me on stage, man. Get me on stage. It was awesome, man. I loved it. Can't thank Mike enough for inviting us down, man.
Aye. Oh, that's it. So did you actually have any bigger plans for this summer then? Like touring wise? Like,
I don't know.
England
We didn't really. I don't think we had much because there was a sort of rumble of the pandemic really early in the year. So any gigs that we played usually would have led to more gigs. There weren't really more gigs being organised because of the uncertainty.
The plan was to finish the album and then start working on putting a tour together for the album, getting a launch show and getting a few gigs down south and kind of go and just playing a few shows. But then we obviously couldn't finish the album because we were all locked down, and now it's getting to the stage where it's almost done now, but we have, as I say, we can't play any gigs, so there were plans to do more than we have done, but it's just all been fucked off because of this.
I think we still want to have a launch show.
It's going to suck bringing the album out if we don't get to do a launch show. Like, I just don't feel good about being like, right, the album's coming out on this day, and on that day you can't play a gig to promote it. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be a bit weird.
Dave, we're not going to let that happen.
It's going to be a bit weird.
So you say that you've got enough songs for a new album, well, the album recorded, but with newer songs, would you have enough to do like an EP? Could that be a stock fill, a gap fill, and then release the album?
No, the newer stuff's not ready to be recorded yet. Like, the album stuff's been written for over a year now, so that's all been refined, and the songs are exactly where we want them to be. The new stuff, it's literally a couple of weeks old, so it's probably still going to go through some changes before it's ready to be stuck on a CD. But it will definitely be, after this release, it'll be probably an EP or another album after that. But judging by how many ideas we've got kicking about, I would say it's probably just going to be another album pretty quickly after this one comes out.
I mean, at the rate we write, like as soon as we had Prelude finished, we were just working on more stuff anyway while rehearsing. It's like, so we've done that set 3 times. New stuff, yeah.
That's it. So how often do you actually meet? How often do you meet?
Generally once a week we get the whole band together for rehearsal, but we'll do other things, like me and Pinky will sometimes meet at the rehearsal room and bash out some ideas, or maybe I'll meet Graham and we'll work on solos or something like that. And recently we've been meeting up kind of out with rehearsal to do recording. So like last week, for instance, me and Toni met up twice out with rehearsal to record the vocals for the album. Met up with Graham out with rehearsal to do the vocals for the album, and then on a Sunday generally.
You do vocals on the album? Wow, that's exciting.
What a dick. That's what you just say. He's fucking stealing your job, man. It's not good enough he's melting frets all over his shop. He's fucking singing as well. What a cunt.
You're all gunning for my job, right? I've got one thing.
Shocking, mate. Shocking.
So I want to take speaking between songs on stage away from me then.
Okay. Got it.
So David, it's one thing that I do like with bands is having more than one vocalist. So is this something that's happening in the new album more? Are you coming into it more?
Vocally?
Yeah.
I'll always write harmonies to basically just support Toni, but when it comes to recording the actual parts, I like to have her voice harmonising with her voice because it just sounds better to me. So I won't be singing on the album, but I will be doing all the parts that she sings on the album live. So essentially I'll write the parts for her to sing on the recording, and then I'll take over and play them live.
You do have a good voice. Well, on the album.
Thanks, bruv.
So I'm probably showing my age here a wee bit, but before the internet then, so magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications are being replaced with like thousands of websites catering for all genres. So do you think that some of the passion has been lost, or do you think that the internet has been a good thing for music and a good thing for Darkness Divine, for example?
I don't know.
I don't think the passion's been lost, but I do think the ways to find new music, the ways to get your music out is just oversaturated.
Yeah,
that's so much.
You can't be enough places. You just physically, it's so quick to get, as you were saying earlier, to burnout, because it's not like, okay, we'll reach out to these big places. It's no, you've got to find everything, which is impossible in and of itself. And especially online, a lot of things you've got to pay for the rights for, and you've got no guarantee whether or not that's actually going to be useful or helpful. Linda, seriously. You've got no idea if that's actually going to help. It's so much more of a gamble, whereas, before you could say, oh yes, this magazine, I have seen that, I read that.
Yeah.
If I put money towards that, I know I can find it again.
Yeah.
So
it's just, as Toni said, like, there's so much music now that it's hard to kind of break through the noise. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be pretty unique to kind of be heard, I think, because there's just so fucking much stuff. Like, there's new song, exactly, which we aren't. There's just so much, man. There's so much out there. It's not like you can just go and buy a CD anymore. It's like you're switching on Spotify and there's about 20 different bands recommended for you, and you're just like, fucking hell, like, where do I even start?
Yeah. I mean, I've just had a couple of interviews recently, and it's all about like having like tapes. Like, you would wait for the postman to come because you would have sent like a £1 note in an envelope to some guy in some foreign country or whatever like that, and you get a tape through. And there's just, I would tape for music just to be download only. I hope that doesn't come, because vinyl and tapes are, you can't beat the physical product.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we'll always release a physical product as long as we're a band. Like, there'll always be a CD or a vinyl that you can buy. Like, I'm absolutely old school that way. Like, I don't even have Spotify on my phone. Like, I just don't agree with getting music for nothing. So if I'm at a band's gig, I'll buy their shit. If I love a band, I'll be up in HMV in the fucking morning that their album comes out and get the physical copy. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I do.
Yeah, whereas I'm the opposite, where I'm using, Spotify or anything. If I've seen a band, I'm like, okay, I'll see them live, I'll check them out. But then I'm using Spotify to make sure that I actually like what I'm hearing. And then I'm buying the CD because, I want the bands to actually get the money.
Yeah.
I want it to actually translate back to that.
No, absolutely correct. I've only got a couple for you. The first one's going to be easy then. So what's next for Darkness Divine?
Album.
Aye. Album launch. Yeah, we're going as fast as we can. Album, some videos. That'll probably be the next thing, is a music video, actually. Because I imagine we'll drop some music before we release the album.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, next thing for us will be a music video, I would expect.
So you've got absolutely everything done for the album, then you've got the artwork done and all the rest of it, yeah?
We've got the ideas are there. We've not fully got it 100%, but by the time everything's done and we start kind of promoting the album, we've got so much time between, I think, like when we finish it and when we release it, we'll have quite a build up. Like, it won't be as soon as we finish it, we're going to drop it. We'll probably build up to it over a couple of months, so we'll have plenty of time to kind of tie that stuff together.
Yeah. Well, you've got so you're going to have to send us the album, and we'll do our best to promote it for you. But
100%.
Yeah.
Obviously.
The last question is probably the one that you're going to talk most about is, David, tell me about your guitars. What guitar are you using to record the album? How many guitars you got, etc.?
Right, I'll leave.
No. I'm coming to you, Toni.
How many guitars you got? I generally use Les Pauls live, but I'm recording the album with a Jackson RR5, which is basically the Randy Rhoads signature V, white and gold. The reason I use that to record is just specifically because it's got better pickups than my Les Pauls, so it sounds marginally better when you're recording with it. But I don't like playing it live because it just feels wrong. I'm a Les Paul man through and through when it comes to live shows.
So you got your dream.
Sorry?
You got your dream guitar?
I don't have my dream guitar, no. There's always something better to spend my money on. I've got a few Epiphones and they do the job just fine, man. I don't think I will ever drop like $5,000 on a guitar. That's just not. That's not for me.
Like a custom guitar that was just for you.
Nah.
I mean, you're a tall guy. Like.
That's true. What you're trying to say here is this guitar going to be like fucking? Is it going to be like slightly higher off the ground?
Yes.
Slightly bigger body.
Yes.
Longer neck.
Yeah.
Cool.
So see, when you play live, like, how many guitars do you bring with you?
Generally just my white Epiphone Les Paul, although I don't know if I'll be using it live much longer because my cat, in his infinite wisdom, decided to knock it off my mantelpiece and snap the fucking neck. So it's had a bit of a repair job now, so I'm going to probably be using my black Epiphone Les Paul for the foreseeable future. But
we're not really a band that comes with several guitars.
No,
like,
yeah.
We kind of rock up and just be like, we're going to just smash our teeth in as quickly as we can, as well as we can.
Bare minimum, just fucking, here you go, bang, there's some tunes, back on the bus.
Go that way.
Two things with that then. Have you kept the cat?
Sorry?
Two things with that. Have you kept the cat?
No, I can't. He's too adorable.
No, it's true. It's so true.
So what do you do then if you're live and a string breaks?
Change it.
Happened.
Well, it has happened. I broke a string second song in Ivory Blacks and I just winged it, played the rest of the set with 5 strings. Like, when you've got a half an hour set, you can't really change a string on stage, so you just kind of had to go for it.
Yeah,
but
you just adapted.
In general...
He was like that, my strings broke. We're like, what? He's like, can we just adapt to that? It's like, yeah, okay. Easy.
It's alright. Done the job.
Yeah.
I don't have to melt any frets. That's Graham's job. I'm like, cool. I'll just stick on jun, 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 jun. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Tony, you're not getting away from this. So is there a particular microphone that you use, or do you have like a particular brand that you like using?
Oh man, I really wish that I didn't leave everything in the jam room, because I could maybe answer that if I knew. Like, I am the most clueless when it comes to like tech. Most of the time, it's like I always use my own mic. Because I've got rhinitis and I get colds really easily, so I never really want to use a mic that's maybe been at several people's mouths.
Yeah.
So I've always used my own mic, but my last birthday was the best birthday ever because the band all bought me my first wireless mic. So that was if I could cry, I would have cried, but I am not human like you, and my species does not cry. So
I know the mic is a Shure mic. I couldn't tell you what the model is.
Yeah, no, not at all. But it's wireless and it makes me happy, and I don't trip anymore, which was a problem.
Toni was the only member of the band who wasn't wireless. She was getting a bit jealous. So we're like, okay, we better fucking make it so you can run about the stage untethered.
So do you actually know the difference in the sound?
No, not really. I mean, there's been a couple of times where sound guys have been completely flabbergasted when I say I really don't want to hear myself. As long as I can hear what's happening on the stage with the band, like if you're singing properly, you don't need to have yourself blaring at you. Plus, I don't want to hear how many times I get it wrong. Like, I could totally do that. So, and even a lot of the venues we play, it's a miracle if you can hear me at all because of how sound works, basically. So I'm never really too fussed. I'm mostly just looking to make sure that I've sang well. That's it.
No.
Well,
I think
you sing well.
Aye, there probably is a difference between sounds from different mics, but it's not something that I'm particularly savvy about either.
Yeah,
I'd imagine Pinky would know. He'd be like, oh yeah, there's definitely more mids on this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think if you gave him half an hour, he'd get really into it. So I think what we're all doing is avoiding that, so that he doesn't learn these things and start getting pernickety.
Yeah, just at the moment he's fucking smashing his all at ping pong at the jam room. That's his fucking game right now. 21-0 the BAM. Shocking.
Just the last thing then. So if people are wanting to find out about Darkness Divine, where will they find you on social media then?
They'll find us on Facebook. They'll find us on Instagram. where we are Darkness Divine Band. You'll find us on Twitter, where we are DD_band. Actually, that's a really good one, right? I want everybody to get in touch with Twitter and tell them that whoever has @Darkness Divine needs to give up their account. They've not used it for 10 years, they've not posted, they've not commented, they've done nothing. It's an empty account, and all I want is to use the name, right? This person's not used it in 10 years, 10 years as of September, okay? I want everyone to get in touch with that person, that account, or just Twitter, and tell them we want our name.
Do it for us.
Please.
I wouldn't have guessed the subject.
It's a very touchy subject for me. I've complained so much. I am still campaigning. I've not given up my fight.
I'll get emails kind of periodically during the week because my phone's linked to the band email. So an email will come through and it'll be like Twitter account 1040 whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, we have processed your request for this and that. And I'm like, oh, Tony must be on this case to Twitter and trying to get them to fucking fire that guy who's got the Darkness Divine.
Honestly, they're not using it. They've never used it.
It's shocking, mate. It's absolutely shocking. That's fucking monopoly on the Darkness Divine handle. Bastards.
Well, bastards is a nice way to end this interview. So listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you again.
Not a problem.
Hope to see you in a live front sometime soon. But thanks very much, Tony, and thanks very much, David, and I'll wish you all and the rest of the band all the best. Okay.
You're very welcome, mate. Thank you very much.
Now,